San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego, and a happy Friday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3, The Fan. Man, we got a lot to talk about today. Can you believe the Bears are leaving Chicago?
I know, right?
I can't even.
Who would have thought that a team that is known as
The Bears.
The Bears.
I
would
can't
leave
believe it.
Chicago?
I can't believe it. Can you believe all the stuff going down for the Arizona Cardinals right now? I can't troll that long. I can't do it. I can't do it. We got Padres baseball back to an extent. It's spring training baseball, but you got a lineup graphic out from the Padres social media accounts. You got first pitch coming your way in about a couple of hours. We're going to be the pre-game show, if you will, the pre-game shows. We lead you up to noon today for Jesse Agler and Tony Gwynn Jr., Dave Marcus helping out with the crew out there in Peoria, Arizona, as we get ready for Padres baseball against the Seattle Mariners. Spring training baseball already have a lineup, right? Not too surprising. The lineup has already been out. I'm sure Bennett Woods mentioned it already, but very interesting lineup to see Craig Stammen's first lineup that he's put together. We're going to hear from Craig later on in the show. He spoke about this thing for like 5 minutes. It's posted on our social media accounts. But today's starting lineup for the San Diego Padres, batting leadoff and playing shortstop, Xander Bogaerts. Batting second and in center field, Jackson Merrill. Batting third and at third base, Manny Machado. Batting cleanup today and in right field, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting fifth and at second base, Jake Cronenworth. Batting sixth and making his Padres spring training debut, Nick Castellanos. Playing first base, Luis Camposano. He's going to bat seventh and catch. Ty France, the designated hitter today, he bats eighth. And batting ninth is and playing left field is Schnell, which I haven't heard of Schnell yet, but Nick Schnell. Nick Schnell is starting in left field and batting ninth. That's a lot of stars in the lineup for a spring training game, Frank. I mean, I know it's the first game. You want to try to get a lot of guys in. I'm sure we're not going to have many of these lineups again, but that's almost everybody you would expect in the starting lineup today, with the exception of Ramon Laureano. He's the only guy that's not getting a start that you thought would start today. Gavin Sheets also not getting a start today. But again, it's spring training. And do we got to say the disclaimer now? Do we have to say the disclaimer now?
Overreact, boys and girls.
No.
It's time, baby. Oh, wait, what?
Do not overreact.
Oh.
We are going to announce it right now. The stats for spring training don't matter.
Nah,
The standings of spring training don't matter.
unless you're looking for a trivia question.
Correct. I'm glad you said that before I did. None of this matters. It doesn't matter. The process is the only thing that matters, and getting these guys into game playing shape by the time March 26th rolls around, that is all that matters. Getting these guys reps. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to have bad at-bats. They're going to fail with the ABS system. There's going to be a lot of problems in spring training. And you know what? There's going to be a lot of guys balling out in spring training. Where, again, it doesn't matter. Do we have to play the clip from Major League? He just hit that ball out of here. Yeah, from a guy's bag. They could be bagging groceries in about a week. Now, in this day and age, you're not going to see a lot of those guys anymore. Obviously, professional baseball players, a little bit different than in the movie Major League back in the late 90s. But the sentiment is still true. You can't overthink. There's pitchers, especially the pitchers, like the pitching, they're working on different things. Some of these starting pitchers that you're going to see that are expected to help the Padres this year are going to get shelled in spring training. They're going to get shelled. There's going to be guys that you expect to have big years that are going to get shelled. It happens all the time. I like to put this disclaimer out before spring training starts And I also like to put this disclaimer out opening day. And it's the extra disclaimer about Manny Machado. Okay? Manny Machado. Does Manny Machado, he hardly ever gets off to a hot start. I mean, hardly ever. So when he gets off to a slow start in either spring or the first month of the season, I don't want to hear anybody call in and complain that he's lost it and he's washed. This happens every single year.
But he has, though.
Oh God.
But it's a waste of money now, dude.
Yeah, well,
we should never have signed him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he hardly ever has a fast start to the season. And you know what he ends up doing? Becomes the Padres MVP by the end of the season almost every single year. I think the only difference was last year. I think last year he actually started off pretty strong, if I'm not mistaken. But he doesn't ever start off to a good year. Hardly ever does Manny Machado start off to a good year. Last year, started off to a pretty decent year. Every other year before that, never. And you know what we get all the time? Phone call. I don't know. I can't believe we wasted all this money. I meant, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Let's think of the pitcher you could have signed, you know?
I'm going to need you to stop playing devil's advocate. I'm going to throw this coffee at you. And if I don't, then Prolific in the chat is going to come out of the screen and strangle you for you continuing to play this bit that's just going to piss people off. It's exciting to have spring training back. Again, we're putting the disclaimer out now. I'm only saying it once. I'm saying it right now. The stats for spring training don't matter. I care more about how these guys go with their approach in the at-bat. I care more about them getting the looks that they need. I care more about, from a pitching standpoint, guys getting into a groove, building up their strength to pitch long and deeper into games by the time the season rolls around. That's what I care about, and that's what the organization cares about. Yeah, you're going to see guys have bad at-bats. You're going to see players just look miserable in the box. You're going to see players, get shelled from a pitching standpoint. You're going to see guys ball out, too, that probably aren't really going to be a big impact on the team. I mean, there's a lot of that going on, but leave it to the staff, leave it to the evaluators. They're watching these guys on a daily basis, not only in games, but in backfield workouts and backfield opportunities. That's what's going to be. Enjoy the baseball and baseball being back. I mean, we got baseball. You know what's great about this, Frank? We don't have to watch stupid stuff on Shohei Ohtani on MLB Network. They have to force feed us the Yankees and the Orioles now. I love it.
What could be better than not getting the pride of baseball shoved on your screen, other than the team that is the pride of baseball?
It used to be. They're not anymore. They're a has-been now. They're a has-been organization now. I don't think as much as people hate the Yankees, I don't hate the Yankees nearly as much as everybody. I don't think people hate the Yankees as much as people used to. I mean, the best thing that can happen to the Yankees PR is the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's the best thing that happened to the Yankees. I don't care about the Yankees. They don't do anything. They're not a threat anymore.
They don't spend any money.
They get outspent by everybody. All their players are old. They're just like another team. Nobody cares about the Yankees now.
Poverty franchise.
That's right. They don't even spend the most money in their own city. The Metropolitans do that. Metropolitans. My mistake.
No, you're right. Yankees are completely washed, by the way. Last place finish incoming. 2 batters, 2 outs.
Yeah. Hey, man, I can't wait for this phrase, too. That's spring training for everybody.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. It's going to be some flubs in the broadcast. There's going to be some, bad calls, ABS system. You know what? It's spring training for everybody.
Elias Diaz signed a deal.
With who?
Kansas City, a minor league deal.
Wow.
So Padres can't rely on him as
for the backup plan. Let's take a look at this lineup for a second before we start diving into other Padres topics. Again, we're going to talk about the opening day roster a little bit. Dennis Lin put out his prediction, his 1.0 prediction. He usually does a handful of those. I'm sure AJ Casville's working on those. Kevin Acee. I mean, the usual beat writers will start based on everything that they're seeing and the reports they're getting. They start putting out some opening day rosters throughout spring training. We're going to talk about what Dennis Lin said in the next segment, and we're also going to give you our opening day roster of what we think it opening day roster 1.0 without playing any games, not seeing any of this stuff in person, nothing on TV. Here's what we think is going to be an opening day roster come March 26th. We'll talk about that at 10:35. We'll talk about Craig Stammen's first ever game coming up at 11 o'clock. We were going to be announcing today's biggest fan at 11 o'clock because we're off at noon. We're going to talk a little bit about Walker Buehler later on in the show. The 6-man rotations on the table. And I find the 6-man rotation, it's starting to gain steam. You want to know why it's starting to gain steam, Frank? Because even Dennis Lin, when he put together his opening day roster, made it so it is factored for 6 starting pitchers making the squad and 7 bullpen arms. Dennis Lin is usually on it. You really can't go against Dennis more times than not when it comes to his reports. So I think where there's smoke, there's fire. We're going to talk about that later on in the show. We're going to hear from Craig Stammen as he talks about this lineup as well. But again, just to reiterate, we're your pregame show, if you will, for the Padres game today. You will be hearing Padres baseball on the radio waves here in San Diego at noon. Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. back on the radio at noon for the Padres taking on the Mariners. Xander Bogaerts batting leadoff. Jackson Merrill batting second. Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jake Cronenworth, Nick Castellanos, Luis Camposano, Ty France, Nick Schnell, and the starting pitcher today. I thought that was weird. I thought Gillespie was pitching, but Jagger Haynes is going to get the start today for the Padres. He's on the lineup that they put out there. We're going to talk about this lineup a little bit more. We're going to hear from Craig Stammen when we come back about how he put the lineup together, and we're going to break it down in the next segment on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. San Diego FC just took its first real international punch, but it survived. A 1-0 loss last Tuesday in Mexico City to Pumas Unam, but San Diego FC advances on a 4-2 aggregate score in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Wasn't pretty, wasn't dominant, but it might have been revealing. Big takeaway, backup goalkeeper for this San Diego FC, who continues to dominate and do very well, Pablo Cisniega, Frank.
Yeah, he is absolutely incredible. 8 saves, faced 25 shots, 44 clearances forced by the defense. So, I mean, he did a fantastic job, and this game looked exactly as I had expected the game to look. Nearly 70% possession for Pumas in the second half. San Diego FC looked like a team that was, one, gasping for air with how high they were with the altitude, but also they were looking like a team that they were playing with a 3-goal lead.
We talked about this a lot on the show. Obviously, a lot of time has passed since the game, but the numbers, a little concerning. But I don't really feel it to be that concerning, just because of the fact that they had a huge lead in the aggregate. I mean, 25 shots to San Diego FC's 5, 9 shots on target to 3. I know Mikey Barra said they wanted to push, but at the same time, you didn't want to play your way into what could have been a counterattack.
Yeah, you didn't want to play your way into trouble. And sometimes the best way to do that is kind of like sitting in that limbo of just being balanced and parking the bus, which is what San Diego FC did. So, I mean, you could tell that they were trying, because if they weren't, the possession numbers would have been a lot more out of hand, and you would have seen a lot more players in trouble as far as energy and stamina were concerned than you did. So they definitely didn't play to their full potential, but they also were doing that for a very specific reason in this case.
Now the degree of difficulty rises. San Diego FC advances to face reigning Liga MX champion Toluca FC in the round of 16. First leg will be on March 11th in San Diego. Second leg in Toluca at 8,750 feet elevation. That's 1,250 feet higher than Mexico City, where San Diego FC had just won and looked like they were struggling with the altitude late. If San Diego FC conceded territory like that against Pumas, they can't do it again against the defending Mexican champs.
No, and they won't do it again, especially if the only way you could possibly see them doing that again is if they have another ridiculous aggregate lead when they go down to when they go and play Toluca at their place. So, I mean, it's going to be the first leg of this, which is, again, as you said, I believe is going to be on March 11th. That is going to determine how both teams play in leg 2. So if it's close, if it's tied, I would not expect San Diego FC to look anywhere the same as they did against Pumas in that second leg matchup.
They got their first MLS match coming up this weekend against Montreal here at Snapdragon Stadium. So take a little bit of break from the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But overall, what do you want to see them do as they get back to MLS play?
Just show that last year was not a fluke. And I believe they've done that already in their first 2 matches of the season in the Champions Cup. But playing in league is a very, very different thing. And going up against Montreal is going to be, they were one of the more down teams last year in the Eastern Conference. So I would expect San Diego FC to play well. Again, also your first opportunity to open up a season in front of your home crowd as well.
As for the off-field stuff, now this happened at the conclusion of our show on Tuesday. Full article about Chucky Lozano and the transfer update on where he is at with San Diego FC, and quoted his brother. Now, the entire article was in Spanish, so we had to translate some of it, but the future of Chucky Lozano is very uncertain. He is not part of San Diego FC's plans for 2026, despite still being under contract. Because of this, his brother, Brian Lozano, warns that due to the behavior he has shown at the MLS club, no one or very few would risk signing him. That is from his own brother. Quote, he had his problems at Napoli with Gattuso and his coaching staff. At PSV, he also had issues at one point. He's rude and arrogant, and that doesn't lead anywhere. And that has influenced the fact that many people don't want him. That's his brother, Brian Lozano, telling ESPN, who recently returned after playing a year with Virtus FC in the Brazilian League. Even though he earns a lot in San Diego, I feel that's just an excuse because it's not convenient to have someone like that, knowing how important it is to have a healthy locker room. So no one or very few would risk signing him because at the end of the day, they run the risk of something similar happening to what has happened before, said Brian Lozano, a former Pachuca and Pumas player who is the brother of Chucky Lozano. That is very damning from Chucky Lozano's own brother.
Yeah, that's blood talking. That's not an anonymous source. That's family. And it's not just family, it's family that is also played at the same level that Chucky has as well, being in Liga MX. So it's odd.
Don't overanalyze. Don't overanalyze anything in spring training. Enough.
Every over thing analyze.
I got group text coming in. People so upset. Fernando's got to play first. He's got to bat first. This is non-negotiable, brother. It's February. He's off to a terrible start.
Gillespie's been scratched. Tommy John surgery. Off we go.
Yeah. Now Gillespie has been scratched because his wife is going into labor. Congratulations to the Gillespie family. And hopefully everything works out great. Obviously, hoping for obviously the best. So Gillespie is not pitching today. Haynes is pitching instead. So today's lineup, again, as I make fun of people in group chats for overanalyzing the lineup, hey, let's take a look at the lineup and see if we can analyze what's going on. Maybe it's a little bit of news and notes for you for the regular season. So this is the lineup they put out today. Xander Bogaerts, Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jake Cronenworth, Nick Castellanos, Luis Camposano, Ty France, Nick Schnell, and Jagger Haynes. That is your starting lineup for the Padres. The players are playing their traditional positions. Castellanos is playing first. Ty France is DHing. I think you can figure out where everybody else is playing, right? Right. So this is the lineup that the Padres put together. People are freaking out. You know, it's guys. What day is it? It's February 20th. It's not even March yet.
B. Wilson in the chat's got it. Like he's on it. We will never survive.
And Craig, this is the lineup they're putting out. This is the lineup they're putting out.
Mick Jagger Haynes.
Oh, stop it.
That's actually a good one.
Stop it.
That's actually a good one.
So that's the lineup that the Padres rolled out today. I don't mind it. At this point, you're trying to get guys at bats. I mean, they're going to have players bat leadoff that need extra at bats. And I don't know. Here's a guess. Maybe Xander Bogaerts wanted to bat leadoff so he can get extra at bats because he's getting ready for the World Baseball Classic. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. If I'm Craig Stammen, I start trolling everybody saying like, "Yep, it's a really good look at our opening day lineup." You know, yeah. I would just be all over that.
I would be destroying people right now.
He's too nice of a guy. He won't be able to do that. He's just too nice of a guy. Too nice of a guy. Let's get to the let's get to what Craig Stammen had to say about the lineup today. There's a lot of other things that he starts talking about during this clip. It's a little bit longer clip, but we want to play it for you. We're excited for Padres baseball. Here's the manager, Craig Stammen, at his daily scrum talking about today's lineup, because that's what we could talk about today. It's great. Isn't this better, Frank, than asking him about like random play? Well, how did this bullpen go? So this is a lot better. Here's Craig Stammen talking about his first lineup as the Padres manager.
Great. Baseball game. Do I get to talk to you guys afterwards, too?
Oh, yeah, and how about we do it on the field like we did for 100 years instead of up here?
Okay, that's good.
We established
for 100 years?
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like a long time. Except, yeah. What are you doing with that lineup today, huh? What do we read into that?
Did you guys get to see the lineup already? All right, good.
The whole world has.
Yeah, excited to roll those guys out there. It'll be a lot of fun.
Can we read anything into it? You experimenting? What are you doing?
I think you're always experimenting stuff, but I think the main thing is we got to get Xander, Manny, Toddy ready for the WBC so that they're at the top to get some ABs.
How is Yuki?
Amazing.
Yuki's doing all right. He's day to day. Obviously, he threw his kind of live BP yesterday, had a little tightness in his groin, stopped it early, smart about that. Seems like it's gotten better today, and possibly playing catch tomorrow.
I promise this question isn't related to reading into the lineup, but Jackson hitting in the second. Well, it's related to the lineup, but not reading into the spring lineup. Jackson in the second spot and potentially hitting between a bunch of righties who do damage and getting him maybe favorable matchups. Do you like the concept of what that could be?
Yeah, I do like the concept of what that could be. Yeah, for him, I like him at the top too. He's just an energy giver, and takes at bats, prepares the right way. Like getting him to hit in the first inning, I think is a good thing for our team. We'll see how it works going through spring, and then if that's what we want to roll out at the beginning of the season.
When you say the top, you mean like number 2, or do you mean the top? When you say you like him at the top?
Top. When I say top, I mean like the top 3,
first
probably.
Inning.
Yeah, first inning. Yeah.
What do you know about Jagger Haynes?
I've seen a little bit of Jagger. I remember Jagger back when he was like 18 years old and 50 pounds lighter, I think. And then now he's matured into a man, and got to see him pitch a lot the last few years through A-ball and then AA last year. He's made a ton of strides. He's a much better pitcher and much better person than what he's grown in all those areas. And so excited for him to get an opportunity to pitch in a big league spring training game and get to show us what he's got.
I'll ask another conceptual lineup question. Hypothetically, with Xander at the top, what could he bring in that spot? Just looking at that, he stole 20 bases last year, even with the injuries.
Yeah, Xander is on track to be in the Hall of Fame. And whenever you can put a possible future Hall of Famer at the top of the lineup, that's a good thing. And like we saw last year, he brought some speed to the table, but I think more excited about the bat that he showed in the playoffs, and that he could be, a guy that we really want at the top of the order that'll set the tone and give the pitcher something he has to be prepared for.
That's kind of what I wanted to get to. Look, you could talk about like the overall. I mean, we got a decent amount of that. If you want to see the whole thing or hear the whole thing, you can go to our social media page at 97 through the fan SD on Twitter. The entire thing is on there. What can we read into the lineup? I don't think you can read a lot into it. I had not seen the clip yet, Frank, and my immediate thing was they probably need to get at bats to guys that are about to play in real games.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's kind of was the thought, wasn't it?
Ball knower. Ball knower.
I don't think it's necessarily ball knowing. I think that's just common sense thinking.
A lot of people don't have that nowadays.
For something as common as common sense.
You know what? It's spring training for everybody, Frank.
It is.
It's spring training for everybody. But I do want to talk a little bit more about what the idea of, and here's the deal. as I told everybody, don't read into the lineup. I wouldn't be upset with the lineup. Who cares? The only thing to me in spring training when it comes to the lineup is how many starters are playing. That's really it. I mean, I look at how many starters are playing, who's getting the reps. I mean, Freddie Fermin's not starting today. They're going to have Camposano start. They also don't have Gavin Sheets starting today. Nick Castellanos is playing first. Ty France is the DH. I mean, getting guys at bats, seeing how many stars are in the lineup, that's what you're kind of looking for. Now, the idea of Xander Bogaerts and the leadoff spot, I'm not really opposed to that, Frank. I'm really not. I don't mind that. I would prefer to have Fernando in at the top of the order. At leadoff, at least in the top 3. I think you can't have the first inning end without giving Fernando Tatis Jr. a chance to hit. I really don't. But I don't mind him moving around. My ideal lineup, with all your best players, like everything considered, I'd have Fernando bat leadoff. But if I'm not going to bat Fernando leadoff, it's like Jackson Merrill, I think, would be a decent bat. But honestly, like, Xander Bogaerts puts together good at bats.
Yeah.
He sees a lot of pitches. He puts together good at bats. He is a threat to steal bases. He's a smart base runner. Okay. He brings up a little bit more, he does more damage at the top of the order than a guy like Luis Arraez. Because at least, with Xander, he's going to hit the gaps, and he does have some pop to hit the ball over the fence. He's not a power hitter, obviously. He's gap-to-gap hitter. And Craig Stammen said it. Xander Bogaerts is on a track to potentially be in the Hall of Fame. It's nice having a Hall of Famer start your games.
Yeah.
He's not wrong there.
I mean, I wouldn't, going back to the lineup real quick, just so you guys can understand. This is the Yankee lineup today. Austin Wells, Jose Caballero, Jazz Chisholm, Ahmed Rosario, Ernest Martinez, Marco Luciano, Duke Ellis, Kennedy Corona, and Ali Sanchez. 3 of those guys maybe will be on the opening day roster.
Isn't Austin Wells playing the WBC too?
Yes.
Like, he's not a leadoff hitter either.
Well, no, he is. He set the catcher record last year for hitting 2 home runs in the leadoff spot on opening day or whatever he did. But there's no Arson Fudge, no Giancarlo Stanton, no Ben Rice. I mean, they sat a lot of their guys out. If the Padres rolled into opening day with the lineup, at least the top 4 that they have today, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I would not be opposed to that at all. I don't mind. I would like to see Fernando get up in the first inning, but I would also like to see him get up in the first inning with multiple guys on and a chance to really do some damage and get a crooked number up on the board early. So I don't have a problem. If this were the top 4 this year, I would be fine with that.
I think that is your top 4 this year. Not in that order, but I think those 4 guys the entire year are going to be your top 4 hitters.
Yeah, if it was this order, I'm good with that.
Right.
I'm fantastic with that.
Those are your 4 best hitters that you want up more times than not. I mean, because to me, in this particular sense, like, I don't like Xander as a cleanup guy, but him as a leadoff being in the top 4 is fine. I think if you move that around, I think it sets up for either Merrill being a cleanup guy, which I'm not. I like Merrill in the 2 spot, I really do. But those top 4 are solid, and then you don't have to force Gavin Sheets to be somebody that he's not, right? You don't have to force Nick Castellanos being 5 or 6 or 7. You're in a better spot. And I said this multiple times. I'm going to say it again. When the Padres have a lineup with Jake Cronenworth batting 7th or worse, the Padres are got a playoff level team. They do. And so right now they're getting guys reps, they're getting guys opportunity. But Bogaerts in the leadoff spot, I'm curious to see how he has this approach. But again, I think a lot of it has to do with World Baseball Classic this year and getting guys with, that are playing in the World Baseball Classic, giving them opportunities to play.
Oh no,
and getting them at bats.
We can't have Nasson on right now. They're talking to him. They are talking to him.
Hey, Birdland.
Oh, nice.
Albert Naz is on a live interview right now.
Wow. Hey, Birdland.
That stinks. We can't hear that.
Do it again.
Hey, Birdland.
It's great. There's a couple of games today that are against colleges, which is kind of cool. Minnesota is playing the Minnesota Golden Gophers today.
Golden Gophers.
Yeah, the Twins are playing the Golden Gophers, and then the Red Sox playing Northeastern today. Is that who they're playing? The Huskies.
I believe that is
Northeastern.
I believe that is Northeastern.
Yeah, they're playing Northeastern today. Northeastern beating the Red Sox 2-1 right now.
Let's go.
I mean, it's not crazy. They have college baseball teams.
Red Sox last.
It's not crazy to see college baseball teams scrimmage pro teams because they always play like the young guys who are basically college age kids anyway, right? Because they're all like they got paid, they just got drafted out of high school instead.
Yeah, their only big name starter that the Red Sox are throwing out there right now is Christian Campbell, and he's in center field.
He's the only guy on the
only
roster.
Guy, and Masataka Yoshida.
Yoshida's playing today too. Again, you cannot look at this too much.
What do you mean? Boston can't be losing to Northeastern.
Yeah, they can. It's an exhibition. Doesn't count. Nobody cares. It's baseball, man. Baseball's crazy.
What do you mean?
I can't wait to watch the Golden Gophers take down the Twins today. That might actually be a legit game.
What's left of them, at least.
Yeah, it's a shame the Padres don't play USD or San Diego State anymore. Like out there, it's kind of fun. They used to do this all the time. I think it's great. See some college guys go play. I mean, they already get. It's not like they're not pros now. They get paid. They might as well scrimmage.
Could you imagine the Padres coming out here to play an exhibition game at Tony Gwynn Stadium against San Diego? That would be cool, though. That would be awesome.
They would. They always do it in spring training. They a lot of these teams are already down there for scheduling.
Brother, allow a man to dream for just 2 seconds without crushing it with facts and logic.
I don't see as many of the Cactus League teams doing that as much, but it used to be cool. They used to have like the college teams that would scrimmage. Now you have WBC teams scrimmaging too, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
The Padres will be playing Great Britain at the beginning of the month of March. Yes, exactly, Jake. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Interesting comments from Craig Stammen about the lineup. I think Xander Bogaerts in a leadoff spot's not crazy. But today's about getting guys opportunities. Today's about getting guys reps. Today's getting guys into a game action. And that's what you're going to see in the spring training game. I've already gave my disclaimer on over-evaluating spring training games. It's a fool's errand. Trying to figure out, like, if teams did well, did they do well in the break? It's a fool's errand. So stop. It's not going to matter at all. These guys are just trying to get game level reps. That's all that really matters, especially in a sport like baseball that's built on so much failure.
Seattle's putting out a pretty serious roster as well, a serious lineup as well here today. I don't know if
when we come back, we'll talk about the lineup that the Mariners are going against the Padres. We will also kind of give a preview of who we think's going to make this roster. It's our 1.0 version of the opening day roster. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Aztecs basketball was back in action over the weekend. We didn't have much time to talk about this on the actual show. They will play again before we are back on the show. They got a game against Grand Canyon on Tuesday night. But last game recap, Aztecs beat up on Nevada 71-57 at Viejas Arena. Aztecs went on a 13-0 second half run after Nevada tied it at 38, holding them to 32.7% shooting overall. Reese Dixon Waters, 20 points, continued his scoring streak, 14 straight games in double figures. And Magoon Wath was back. He returned after 5 games off. He had 13 points, 5 blocks, 3 for 3 from 3, and the first Aztecs since at least 1996, 1997, with 3+ 3s and 5+ blocks in a single game. It's good to have Magoon Wath back.
Yeah, absolutely. A huge key to this Aztec team that we were expecting, and only without a handful of games left in the regular season. He's coming back. He's showing some form. He's showing some ability. So it was a long season without him, but right now they're getting him at the best time.
Team remains tied for first place in the Mountain West Conference at 12-2. Undefeated at home, 7-0, extending dominance over Nevada at Viejas Arena 14-0, again in conference play. Bench production, Aztecs ranked number 3 nationally in bench scoring, 36.9 points per game, with reserves accounting for nearly half of the team's offense. Defensive efficiency, top 35 nationally, number 1 in the Mountain West across multiple metrics, including blocks, turnovers forced, and opponent shooting percentage. As you look ahead, Grand Canyon coming up on Tuesday should be a tough game, but if they win that game, the Aztecs are right there at the top of the leaderboard, again, competing with Utah State. They still got to play Colorado State before they take on the Aggies at home, but the Aztecs are in a good position to strike.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're really bracing in this game against Grand Canyon tonight. They're 1-5, San Diego State is, against Grand Canyon all time with their one win coming at Viejas Arena. So this is not going to be a walkover game. You played them really close at Grand Canyon, but coming back here, it hasn't been much more of a safe haven for San Diego State as it has been. So as you would have liked it to be. So definitely a big game that you're really bracing for here tonight for the against the Lopes.
Yeah, but you also got Muguguath back,
Yes,
which
you
is a big pickup. As for women's basketball, 20-plus wins again. Aztecs beat Nevada 78-64, proved at 20-4 overall, 14-1 in the Mountain West. Dominance on the road, 8-1, shooting 55% through 3 quarters and holding Nevada to 30%. Kennedy Lee and Maria Castanito, 12 points each. Castanito was perfect, 6 for 6 from the field. Nala Williams surpassed 1,700 points and 600 rebounds in her career. 5 players in double digits, 6 with 9 points. Aztecs clinch a first-round bye in the Mountain West tournament. They got to be able to win the Mountain West Conference tournament, probably. They got a good resume, but I think Chris Ello might be going back to the regionals and the NCAA tournament when the season is done.
Yeah, I think so. San Diego State, the women's side, has been just an absolute machine this year. And their next game is going to be tomorrow night, as we're recording this on Tuesday, is going to be tomorrow night against UNLV, the top 2 teams in the Mountain West on the women's side.
Yeah, the UNLV has been kind of the class of the Mountain West Conference in terms of women's basketball the last handful of years. Aztecs able to knock them off in the Mountain West Conference tournament to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament last year, see if they can knock them off again here in the regular season. As for softball, early season momentum, Aztec softball 8-2 after they swept Campbell in the swept the Campbell Cartier Classic, culminating in a 10-5 win over Oregon State. 7-run rally in the 5th to break open the game. Jade Ignacio, who was the Mountain West Conference Player of the Week, 2 weeks now in a row. Kiana Pua, Mountain West Conference Pitcher of the Week. Next up is the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic in Cathedral City. It's a huge tournament in softball, and that tough slate for the Aztecs includes number 1 Texas Tech and number 4 Oklahoma.
Yeah, we've seen how crazy Oklahoma has been this season to start off. They have been really, really good at just dominating opponents that they have played. So that's not going to be a easy series for them, a game for them. Neither is, of course, going up against the number 1 team in the country.
As for baseball, walk-off drama. San Diego State baseball starts the season 3-0 after a walk-off win, 6-5 over Long Island on Sunday. Zane Kelly, RBI single in the 9th. Tice Peterson, 2-homer game, early dominance with a 5-0 lead before LIU rallied. Pitching on the pitching side, Carson Johnson strong in his first start. But overall, shout out to Kevin Vance, who was on our show on Friday, getting that first win on Friday night against Long Island. And then be sure to stay tuned in the next 20 minutes or so, 22 minutes, 11 a.m. As we broadcast live for the Bill House Studios. We know how. We have a short show today, which means Biggest Fan gets moved to 11 today, 11 a.m. Stay tuned at 11. We're announcing today's Biggest Fan. 11 o'clock. Are you okay over there? What's going on?
We're trying to move my chair, and I rolled over the freaking wire on my headset. I was trying to figure out why my chair wasn't moving.
Pulled back.
Nice. Unnecessarily long wire.
Yeah, what are we doing over there?
I don't know.
Are you like, when you work, do you work at home and like just wander around the house?
I don't use this one at home.
That's like a wired in telephone.
Yeah, I know. This is ridiculous.
Walking around with the telephone, the little thing.
Yeah. I have one of the headsets that we usually take on remotes. I have the same exact one at home with a ridiculously long wire that always gets run over by my wheel.
Yeah. Foul.
Yeah, foul on Audio Technica.
He draws the foul.
I'm just kidding. Audio Technica, I love you. Sponsor your boy, please.
Foul for the shameless plug.
He draws the foul.
It sounds desperate.
It's a foul out Friday.
No, that was yesterday. Today's a pregame show Friday.
Oh,
I was listening to Gwen and Chris yesterday, and I was leaving USD, and they were talking about where Tony was going to go get food yesterday night, like last night, and they were trying to guess. Like they couldn't guess North Italia. They were trying to because Tony forgot what the name was, and so. God, Juan is just on you all the time, dude. He is just on you all the time. Foul on Juan. Losing my train of thought.
He draws the foul.
So there, Tony's like, "Oh, it's that at one of those Italian places that we have in San Diego," and Scraby said, "Buca di Beppo."
Oh.
And he was like, "No, we have those, but no, it's not that." And then Chris went, "Olive Garden." Tony was like,
he draws the foul.
No. And then
he draws the foul.
And then Chris goes like, okay, good. I don't really like Olive Garden. That place is very good.
Okay.
And then he goes, and sorry to the Olive Garden personnel that were listening that wanted to sponsor our show that can't sponsor our show now because I don't like them. I'm like, what? I was like, man, Chris is hungry, dude.
It's only the morning show for you.
Oh my God. I was, and the down part was I was starving because I hadn't eaten anything all day, and I was driving to where I was going to pick up food, and they were just talking about food. It was miserable, miserable. I was just like, oh, that sounds good. Oh, that sounds good. I ended up getting Chipotle yesterday, and because I had a gift card and I had free chips and guac on rewards and stuff, so I was like, all right, well, I'll just get a cheap meal at Chipotle.
Off to Chipotle.
And then like yogurt. There was a yogurt place next door over in the Claremont area. I could not believe the weird toppings they had there.
Oh, what was it, like Nuyo or something?
No, I don't want to name names.
Well, no, because I used to work at
It's a chain.
Nuyo's the only only change that.
I've never heard of that place in my life. No, Handles is an ice cream place.
Okay.
No, I would never disrespect Handles. Are you kidding me? That's a foul for even thinking that.
I'm trying to guess. I'm trying
to not tell you. I don't want to tell you the place, but Genesee, Chipotle, yogurt store next door. I could not believe the weird toppings they had. It was odd.
I mean, I used to work at a grocery store, at a yogurt store. It was my first job. We had like cereals and stuff. Like if you wanted to put, like we had
cereals
Fruity
is
Pebbles
fine.
as
Like
topping.
putting any type of gummies on stuff that gets frozen
we've had that.
is dumb.
I've done that. I mean, like we had that. We had like gummy worms.
Yeah,
and gummy
they
bears
had
and stuff
gummy.
Like that.
They had
fresh
like
fruit,
all this gummy stuff. Then they had like these weird. They had
lychee?
chocolate. Yeah, lychee. What is that? It looks disgusting. Lychee. Who puts lychee on their yogurt? What does lychee even taste like? It looks like alien eyeballs. Is what it looks like.
Did they have brown rice and beans?
No, Johnny. Foul on Johnny anyway. Johnny brought up something else today.
He draws the foul.
On a text that was hiding in plain sight again. And he said, I'm just going to shut up for the rest of the week. I thought he was. Yeah. It's not great.
Eric
it looks disgusting, dude. I don't know why you would put that on yogurt. They had boba too, fine. They had some other things. They had fully chocolate covered pretzels.
Yeah, we've had. Yeah.
Why would you put that on yogurt?
We had. We also had like the New York cheesecake bites.
Yeah, that's New York cheesecake bites makes sense.
Mochi's really good if you haven't had mochi.
Yeah, lychee? No, it looks disgusting. Why would I eat that? I don't. Lychee, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what it's pronounced. It looks gross. It looks like alien eyeballs. I'm not putting that on yogurt. Where's the classic chocolate? Like, they didn't have Reese's.
We had the Reese's, like the crumbled up Reese's and stuff like that.
Yeah, they didn't have Reese's. They had 15,000 different types of chocolate chips, which I didn't know was possible.
Yeah, like dark chocolate, milk chocolate.
But they didn't have like the classic candies at all. It was just it was a weird yogurt topping place. And then I went online to just try to show one of my friend like how weird the toppings were. And the toppings they had online, they didn't have at the place. The place was like, they had gingerbread cookies as a topping. I'm like, what? They had basically ginger snaps. Who puts ginger snaps on yogurt?
I remember we had those animal cookies too. The circus,
I've seen those.
The circus cookies. Those are fire.
Yeah. Putting any gummy on ice cream breaks your teeth.
You got to put it on top.
You have to eat it immediately.
Yeah,
You can't be getting that for whatever.
Bury it in there.
No, that's why I just gummies on yogurt. No, it's terrible.
What flavor did you get?
I got cake batter and cookies and cream.
Oh boy,
it's classic. It's classic. The other thing too is their Oreos that they had on there. They didn't have crumbled up regular Oreos.
Really?
They had you know the Oreos that you get like the big ones that are on like for the ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah,
they had those in there. That was the topping. No filling, just like Oreo.
Well, yeah, I would kind of think the ice cream is kind of substitutes the cream filling in the middle.
No, when you get like Oreos on your topping, they just crunch up a bunch of Oreos that have the cream. They don't take the Oreo cookie off of the Oreo cookie ice cream sandwich and then leave them whole in the topping container. That's what I'm talking. Like that's not a topping. It's terrible. Terrible. Oh, you're getting high. Prolific. Try listening to Gwen and Chris talk about Italian food while you're driving and you haven't had food all day. I'm telling you, that's way worse than the frozen yogurt. Ginger snaps, Clay. You're showing your age, man. With the ginger snaps on the yogurt. Come on. It was just terrible.
What were some of the flavors that were there? Because I mean, we've had some wild ones. We had fruit punch at ours. They
had one that was interesting. They had a
espresso one that we had.
A rocket pop sorbet.
That's interesting. So it's
rocket pop sorbet.
That's interesting.
By the way, I had to wait there 15 minutes for somebody to step out and weigh my yogurt, and I was the only one in the store. I filled it up. There's nobody there. I'm like, I mean, people could just walk in and just take it and just leave. And then I was sitting there. I was like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, waiting in the living room, literally looking around. There's I was just like, all right,
hello.
What are we doing here?
Hello.
Yeah. So I had it just sitting on a scale, and then the lady comes out. I was like, "Can you put on the other scale?" Yeah, sure. Why not? Carob chips. That's the move. Army time. Army time knows about yogurt. Classic carob chips. There it is. All right. Enough about the yogurt.
Did they just have genuine basic sprinkles? Did they have those?
No.
Oh, frick.
They had a little mini container of like the different shaped ones and stuff. The toppings were odd.
I mean, you can't get good sprinkles out here anyway.
How do you not have like Reese's though? They had Reese's Pieces, but they didn't have Reese's. That's another thing. M&M's and Reese's. Talk about breaking your teeth on frozen things. Terrible. All right, you have the Mariners lineup for us.
I do have the Mariners lineup.
All right, what do we got Mariners lineup wise?
So it'll be Luke Raley will be leading off. He will be in center field. Cal Raleigh batting second, catching.
Wow, big dumper.
Julio Rodriguez will be the DH. Exactly. Josh Naylor at first, batting fourth. Randy Arozarena batting fifth in left. JP Crawford at short, batting sixth. Dominic Canzone in right field, batting seventh. Michael Arroyo batting eighth at second base. And then Colt Emerson at third base, rounding out the lineup with Dane Dunning on the mound, right-handed pitcher.
Wow. It's, you know what?
Believe it or not, 0-0 with a dash ERA.
With an irritated face ERA?
Believe it or not.
Yeah, surprisingly. It is the Vetter Cup, so that's why everybody's getting after it, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Let's talk quickly about this, what Dennis Lin put together for an opening day lineup. We're going to talk about ours in the 11 o'clock hour. By the way, we're also going to do the biggest fan in the 11 o'clock hour, too. We'll talk about Walker Buehler, 6-man rotation. I mean, we got a lot to talk about in the next hour as we lead you into Padres baseball. But Dennis Lin put out his opening day lineup 1.0 yesterday. You're going to see him do that a couple of times, and this is around the time that you start doing that. But so before any games are played, before he even saw the lineup today, the big question for this overall lineup is, since camp open, the Padres have added guys like Miguel Andujar, Nick Castellanos, Ty France, and Armand Marquez, Walker Buehler, Griffin Canning. Is this improved or just busy? Are they actually adding quality or is it just quantity? I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, obviously they got to take some risks, but I think bringing in these players to create competition is going to lead to a better roster come opening day, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not just adding the competition to try to get your guys motivated. It's also adding the competition to try to see how high a level your bench can play at as well. So seeing all the competition that's in camp right now, it's great. It's great news for the state of where this team is going into the season.
It's not great for prediction markets though, apparently, because prediction places. I wouldn't say markets. If you say market, then you're thinking about the gambling. But
okay, so
Fangraphs gives the Padres 79 wins this year.
That's cool.
I'll take the over on that.
Yes, pound the over.
22% playoff odds. The Pacoda ratings give the Padres 80 wins this year. 30% playoff odds.
Pound the over.
Am I missing something with this roster? Do they just think everybody's going to be catastrophically bad, or
I genuinely think it's the unknown, because Michael King is coming back off of a season-long injury. Really pitched once, then got hurt again, and then only pitched one inning. It was one good inning, but only pitched one inning. You don't know what what Joe Musgrove is going to give you coming off of Tommy John surgery. You don't know if Nick Pivetta is going to be able to duplicate what he did last year. There's a lot of unknown with this team, especially in the starting rotation. So I think that's what's weighing it down.
There is a lot of unknown, but there's also more unknown for teams that are ranked ahead of this team. That is even more baffling to me when it comes to these projections. And I guess a lot of it has to do with the fact that the Padres have to play the Dodgers more times than other teams do, but that doesn't give them an excuse to rank the Giants or the Diamondbacks over the Padres. I still think the Giants and the Diamondbacks don't have as good of rosters as the Padres. The Giants, I think, got a lot better than Arizona did, but they have just as many question marks as the Padres do. That's why I find these projections to be a little off, but you know what? Maybe they know. I can't remember what the projections were last year.
I think it's more the key players coming back from injury for the Padres, and you don't know how they're going to perform because they didn't play much at the end of last year or at all in Joe Musgrove's case. I think that's more what's tipping the scale as the Padres are. It's the fact that you're coming back with key players off of big injuries that you didn't see last year.
Just remember with Fangraphs, they had the Orioles winning the division last year in the East at 89 wins.
That went well.
Yeah. How did the Orioles do?
They got plastered by injuries. They
had Detroit going 81-81, and they had the Guardians winning the division, tied with the Twins last year. Just a reminder, they had Houston winning the West, outdoing the Mariners by 4 games. And then in the National League, that was just the American League that I had pulled up. But it's interesting that's we do these predictions all the time, but they're still just predictions. They're not it's not, end all be all the time. I find some of these predictions to be a little bit off. It seems like, but who knows? I don't see it like that. More with the roster, and we only got a couple of seconds here. We're going to get to more of this in the next hour. But I think if you look at I was making my roster projection last night. It's hard to do because you have to take chances on guys. You have to think about the IL. You have to, there are players that have to make the team, otherwise they go elsewhere. If I look at the roster right now, Frank, the only position, and when I mean position, I mean catchers, infielders, outfielders, starting pitching, bullpen. Mm-hmm. That's the position. Individual, obviously Manny's going to play third base, right? But that's how I view it. The only one to me that is the easiest to put together, the catching position. That's the only one that's like cut and dry, which has been a big problem for the Padres in the past. Where else? Where has it been difficult to kind of fill out this roster? Before any games even happen? We'll take a deeper dive at the roster when we come back. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant show already. Can't believe it. Biggest fan when we come back. It's officially playoff season for basketball. Wrestling just crowned a new champion, and lacrosse is underway with dynasties chasing history. San Diego High School sports right now, deep, competitive, and raising some real questions about how we decide who's truly the best. Let's start with the hardwood, Frank, and boys basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. According to the latest San Diego Union Tribune rankings, Francis Parker, we talked about a lot last week, remains at number 1 at 19-9, pulling in 11 first-place votes. Right behind them are Victory Christian Academy, are 24-4, and Santa Fe Christian Schools, who are 25-3. And here's what
I voted for Parker on my vote.
There you go. Here's what makes this the most interesting is that all 8 open division teams have at least 19 wins, which almost never happens. Mission Bay sits at 20-8, even with 2 forfeits on the record. San Marcos, Cathedral Catholic, and Olympian. This is a bracket with no easy outs. Meanwhile, D1 has 9 teams with losing records. D2 loaded with balance.
Yeah, open division, elite heavy. Lower divisions are depth heavy. The contrast says a lot about where the power sits right now in San Diego hoops. I mean, Santa Fe Christian got the number 1 seed in the open division playoffs, even though Francis Parker had beaten them twice and has been the number 1 team in the San Diego Union Tribune writers poll. So it'll be interesting to see. And again, Santa Fe Christian's coached by Johnny D. Johnny D is the former Rancho Buena Vista star in high school that went on, walked on at USD, became the best player at the University of San Diego as a walk-on. He has taken over Santa Fe Christian this year. In his first year, they're already one of the best teams in the county and somebody to watch for. But they've had the Francis Parker problem the entire season. Victory Christian Academy down in Chula Vista, relatively new school. They are playing really good basketball as well. Should be fun in the open division. As for girls basketball, seeding controversy. On the girls' side, Francis Parker is now the new number 1 in the open division at 18-7. Behind them, Mater Dei Catholic, Cathedral Catholic, Mission Hills. But here's where the debate starts on this side. La Jolla Country Day is seeded 5th. Despite splitting with both Parker and Mission Hills and beating Mater Dei Catholic. So how does that make sense? Because the brackets are determined strictly by Max Prep's computer rankings, no human seating committee, no debate room, no context discussion, and now Mission Hills and La Jolla Country Day meet for a 3rd time in the quarterfinals. Is that fair, or is that the cost of going fully digital? To me, as I always argue for the computer rankings for high school football, you have to have head-to-head matchup clauses. You have to be able to tweak it, go off of the computer rankings to rank everybody, and then make a couple of tweaks here and there. I don't know why you can't do both things.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly. I mean, you can't go fully one, you can't go fully the other because you have room for issues like this. And I think we've strayed too far in the automated direction on this one.
Let's talk about wrestling. Granite Hills finally wins the Division I championship, Frank.
Yep, absolutely. For 2 straight years, Granite Hills finished runner-up in Division I wrestling, but not this year. The Eagles dominated the section meet, winning 9 individual titles, scoring 356.5 points to capture their first division championship. Emilio Escobar, Cash McClurg, also, and the so-called closer at the heavyweights. This was not a close win. It was a statement, and Granite Hills now heads to Masters with serious momentum towards the state crown.
Yeah, of course, Poway always at the top of the leaderboard in the open division, but wrestling for Granite Hills, they finally break through. They get their first Division I wrestling championship. Big congratulations to them. Haven't started baseball yet, but some of the spring sports are starting to go. Beach volleyball starts this week with a couple of scrimmages, and lacrosse is set to start. As basketball winds down, it's time for lacrosse, baseball, beach volleyball, and softball here in America's finest city. On the boys' side, defending open champion Torrey Pines High School is chasing its 8th straight open division title. 8! They're led by seniors Foster Huang and Ross Jacobson, but La Costa Canyon is right behind them looking to end that run. And on the girls' side, Coronado High School returns much of a team that went 19-0 and finished ranked nationally. Cathedral Catholic and La Costa Canyon are in the mix. San Diego Lacrosse just isn't competitive. but it's nationally relevant, especially when you look at a team trying to win 8 straight Open Division titles in Torrey Pines.
Yeah, and again, it's mostly a Canadian northeastern sport, so it's starting to make its way out here. Colorado, it's also very, very big as well. It's starting to make its way out here. Like, we did not have lacrosse at Olympian when I was going there, so it's interesting to see lacrosse starting to really take a foothold out here. It's also very nice to see. It's a very fun sport if you haven't seen it. The San Diego Seals are a very different game from outdoor lacrosse, so don't expect it to be too similar, but it's a lot of fun to see lacrosse starting to get some recognition out. Means we are an hour away from Padre baseball.
That it does mean that hour away from this station broadcasting Padres baseball.
Yes.
What else does it mean?
It's early nap time.
So that's
never
in an
nap time
hour.
at
That's
1.
in an hour for you.
Oh, it's an hour. Okay. So nap time is at noon.
Yeah.
But lunch was at noon.
Well, you're going to have to change it. I mean, your day got messed up today. You can eat and then take a nap immediately.
I could do that, yeah.
Eat so much you just automatically take a nap.
I can't do that anymore.
Mm.
Used to be able to, can't. Biggest fan?
It is time for today's biggest fan. Congratulations, today's biggest fan. Edgar Gore in Lemon Grove. Edgar Gore in Lemon Grove. You got 10 minutes to give us a call. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. And you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey suite at a Padres game with all the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97throughthefansd.com/biggest fan. Edgar Gore in Lemon Grove. You got 10 minutes. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. There you go. All right. Let's get to just to kind of talk about I don't want to spend too much time on this, but again, Fangraphs has the Padres at before the season starts, 22% chance of making the playoffs. Last year, they had the Padres at a 35.1% chance of making the playoffs. Did the Padres make the playoffs? Yes, they did. They actually made the playoffs just not having most of the rotation for all of last year. It just goes to show, aside from like the Dodgers, the accuracy for their projections, they have no idea. It's just kind of a guess. They thought the Reds were going to come in last place in the NL Central last year. They had a 19% chance of making the playoffs. They made it. Diamondbacks, 59.2% chance of making the playoffs. They didn't. They had injuries. Stuff like that happens. Atlanta had the second best odds in the National League to make the playoffs last year. They had the second best odds in the National League to win the World Series last year. Didn't even come close. Even when they got some of their guys back, didn't come close. So these projections are what they are. They are what they are. I think you're better off listening to Prolific in the chat. He was close to the 96. We thought he was crazy last year. I still think he's a little crazy on the 96. But you know what? It's the same as like everybody else is throwing out the number of like who they think. It's the same thing as like the bracketologist. That's why they have a bracketologist ranking system, Frank. The bracketology matrix for college basketball. People have too much time on their hands.
I thought I had a lot of time on my hands until I saw that. I was like, well,
I guess I'm kind of busy.
I'm a lot busier than I thought.
I didn't realize I was that busy. Okay, let's get to the roster. And I put together what mine would be, and we're going to talk about that in the next segment. But let's talk about what Dennis Lynn put out for an opening day roster 1.0. Would you consider that the catching position finally has clarity? I would say yes.
100% yes.
You have Freddie Fermin, you have Luis Camposano. Fermin's going to start. Camposano's going to spot start. Camposano's starting today. Fermin's the former backup to Salvador Perez. He is now positioned for a first full season as the number one catcher. Camposano, we talked a lot about Luis yesterday. The public vote of confidence from new manager Craig Stammen, plus a lot of Luis Camposano's teammates. He appears set to be set up for success and to have an extended MLB runway for this year. I mean, he has gone in the long development arc, but I think right now it seems like he's in a good place. We'll see where things go with Luis Campusano. I can't wait to watch to see what he does in spring, see how he plays in spring. But I think that even though there's no proven all-star level production at the catching position, I think the Padres, this is the one spot that's easy to me on the roster is catcher. Fermin's going to make the team, and I think it's almost a shoo-in for Luis Campusano to be the backup catcher right now.
Yeah, and I think as we mentioned yesterday when we talked about whether or not this is going to be a make or break year for Luis Campusano, is the fact that the Padres didn't go out and try to get competition for him is part of the reason why you would feel so comfortable that it's his spot. The backup spot, the number 2 spot is his, and he could potentially earn a chance to earn the opening day or an everyday spot over Freddie Fermin, who's getting it really for the first time now after getting out of the shadow of Salvador Perez last year. So the catcher position right now for the Padres is about as set in stone as you can possibly get it right now.
Let's move on to the infield. I think the infield gets a little bit more difficult, but at the same time, a lot of players that are locked in, right? If you're looking at the infield, the 3 players that are for sure locks already, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth. Those are for sure locks. As much as new lease on life, Nick Castellanos, right? And they signed Miguel Andujar, and guys like Gavin Sheets and everything like that. They're still flexible pieces, if you will. So when you look at a guy like Nick Castellanos, he's trying first base for the first time. He's never played it professionally. Didn't look very good the other day. I don't think it's going to take Nick Castellanos a lot to get up to speed playing defensive first base, but he's not a shoo-in for the roster. He still needs to earn his spot, and they even told him that in the Zoom meeting. Miguel Andujar, even though they gave him a $4 million contract, whatever it is, he's still not a shoo-in for a everyday position. Ty France, coming off of a Gold Glove first base year last year. He's going to be competitive for a reserve role, but these are a lot of different pieces mixed in there. Then you got the important wrinkle with this in Jake Cronenworth currently is the backup shortstop for the Padres, but it sounds like they're going to give Sungwoo Song some opportunities to get some backup shortstop reps as part of this team. So as you look at that and the way that this infield set, right now, Dennis Lin lists Machado, Bogaerts, and Cronenworth, which we know. Gavin Sheets, which I think is probably close to a shoo-in, just based on the year he had last year. Nick Castellanos, Miguel Andujar, Sungwoo Song. I think they're going to keep 7 infielders. And if Sungwoo Song is going to be the guy that is your versatile player that can play every position on the infield, then I see why that they would keep these guys instead of other players on the 40-man roster like Mason McCoy, like Will Wagner. And as of right now, the two guys in particular that are in camp that I think have the best chance of making the team, Ty France, Jose Miranda, not on the cut so far for Dennis Lin.
I think it also shows that the Padres are giving as much opportunity as they possibly can to Ty France to hit, because they have him as DH today, correct?
That is correct.
Not as the first baseman. So they're showing that they're showing what they want to see out of him, knowing he's a solid defensive player. So now give him the opportunities to hit coming in opening day DH. I think there's your shot.
I think right now, if Ty France proves that he can hit on a regular basis, because Ty France hit in 2020 with the Padres. That was 6 years ago. And he's bounced around to a lot of different teams, right? He's been on a couple of different teams now that he hasn't made. And if he is able to hit, I think that solves a lot of the Padres' problems at first base. Now, all of a sudden, Nick Castellanos can DH. Miguel Andujar can DH, right? I mean, these are a couple players that could potentially DH. Gavin Sheets can, play a little bit of first and maybe DH too. But, it really is an interesting question when it comes to Ty France. And so if he makes this team, he hit his way on this lineup.
Yes, 100%. And then I think I don't know what you do after that, because I mean, you're going to want to get as many at bats for guys like Nick Castellanos and Miguel Andujar as you possibly can. And we know that Andujar more or less is going to hit against left-handers. We know he's most likely going to be in against lefties. I think if the only person, because I agree with the lineup the roster that you have on the sheet here that we've gone through, and it's been almost identical to what Dennis Lin has put. If Ty France makes this team, I think he bumps Bryce Johnson, and that means that Miguel Andujar becomes your corner outfield replacement player.
Well, I mean, and they're giving Sung-Moon Song some reps too. I last night, and we're going to get to my roster here in a second in the next segment, but last night, the biggest decision that I was putting this together was, do you keep Ty France or do you keep Bryce Johnson? And I think both players have intangibles that are different than the other player they're competing with that adds to the team. And I'll talk more about that in just a little bit, but let's continue to go through the outfield. The outfield's got depth, but it does have limits. Your starting outfield set.
Yes.
Laureano, Merrill, Tatis. I mean, those guys are going to start almost every single game in the outfield.
Your starting 9 is more or less set, minus your first baseman, who you can have several different ways.
And your DH, and that's kind of just dependent on who's playing.
Yeah, exactly. Who's playing first.
You don't have an everyday DH. But if you look at the outfield, the starters, but then it comes the question of who's really the fourth outfielder for the Padres. Is it Bryce Johnson? Or is it one of these other players? Is it Miguel Andujar? It can't really be Nick Castellanos, because usually a fourth outfielder is not an outfielder that hits. He is a defensive replacement outfielder, and the only one that is a real defensive replacement outfielder that plays better outfield than maybe some of your starters is Bryce Johnson. It's really nobody else. I mean, Laureano, Merrill, and Tatis are all better outfielders than Andujar. They're all better outfielders than Castellanos. I mean, if you threw Sung-Moon Song out there, who hadn't played out there, yet, and they want to give him a chance, they're better than him just already. So from that perspective, the only one that makes sense here is Bryce Johnson. And Dennis Lin has Bryce Johnson as the fourth outfielder for the San Diego Padres, making this team, which of course means that Ty France is not making this team. Mm-hmm. I don't think the outfield is 100% cut and dry like the catching position, but I think it's very, very close, because 3 of the 4, and I don't think you're carrying 5 outfielders. Now, depending on what you consider players are outfielders, remains to be seen, but the only other player that really, in my opinion, had a chance as a true outfielder was Tirso Ornelas, and they DFA'd him.
Yes.
They have no other outfielders on the 40-man roster aside from Laureano, Merrill, Tatis, and Johnson. They have guys that can play the outfield, but in terms of overall outfielders that are just strictly outfielders, those are the 4 guys, which almost means to me that those are the 4 guys that are going to make the team going into now the first game of spring training. But you have Jace Bowen, you have Carlos Rodriguez, you have Nick Schnell, who is starting today in left field for the Padres. I don't think any of those guys are making the team over a Ty France, over a Jose Miranda, or over anybody else that they have brought in that's a veteran player that has already shown that they can play at a major league level.
Correct. And again, we're also thinking about this. It is worth noting, because somebody did point it out earlier in the week, and it is worth noting that we are presuming that no injuries happen.
This is right now. This is as of right now. The season starts tomorrow. I mean, I have ideas of what the injured list could look like. I don't think, and until they start playing, we know that Griffin Canning is not going to be ready for opening day. They have said it. He's going to start later. The reports are he's going to start in April, maybe May, right? So he's not going to be on this roster.
We know Yu Darvish is out.
And we know Yu Darvish isn't playing either. He's on the 40-man. I don't know what they're going to do in terms of his contract. I mean, that's all over the place. I don't know if he's going to be on the injured list, but he's not going to be on the 40-man roster. He's either going to be in the 60-day IL, or who knows what his new role is going to be with the Padres. We don't know that information yet either. So that opens up a couple of spots, right? And Johnny Brito's on the 60-day injured list already.
Yes.
I think the biggest question in terms of like injuries would be Jason Adam, and it doesn't really sound like, even though Jason Adam probably can pitch by opening day, I'm not necessarily sure that Jason Adam's going to be ready to go. And that's not even like, and that's, I have an updated graphic that I didn't upload yet to our thing that I'm going to put on there. But when looking at like the injured, this is just like as of today, because right now, like Yuki Matsui was scratched because he had a groin issue during live batting practice for Team Japan yesterday. And so he shut himself down. That was the update we got from Craig Stammen. He's on this roster right now on mine, and he's also on Dennis Lynn's, but we'll get to that in a second. All right. So we went through the position players. We have a couple of minutes here going on what Dennis Lynn has put together. The other thing with Bryce Johnson, before we move on to the pitching staff, he is also one of those players that is out of minor league options. And I think Bryce Johnson played well enough last year that he would get picked up by somebody for a major league spot if he doesn't make the Padres. So that's also a factor. There's a lot of situations in there that even though so-and-so might have played better than this player who's out of options, they have to play so much better that this guy's not part of the organization anymore. Yeah. That's another factor. There's some, I don't want to use the term politics because it's professional baseball, but there's some bookkeeping and rules to apply to building out a roster. It's not just like, oh, here's our best 26. There's a little bit of how much value can we keep in the organization just as much. Let's get to the pitching staff. I think the pitching staff is hard set on who is going. Two things. Number one, are you going to implement a 6-man rotation or a 5-man rotation? And number two, who's starting on the injured list? That to me is the biggest takeaway from this. Now, I find it interesting, and maybe he's just doing it as an exercise, but when there's smoke, there's fire. I find it interesting that Dennis Lynn put his roster together, his opening day roster, his way too early opening day roster. 1.0 is his deal. I find it interesting that he had 6 men that were starters and 7 in the bullpen. You want to make your 6-7 joke? Go ahead. But he had 6 in the rotation. He had 7 in the bullpen. I find that interesting because, again, unless you know what's going on with injuries, like Joe Musgrove, like Michael King, are they going to start the season on the injured list? Are they not? Dennis Lynn goes to the 6-man rotation. He's got Pivetta making the team. He's got Michael King, obviously. I mean, Nick Pivetta was shooing. Michael King, Joe Musgrove, Randy Vasquez. He's got Walker Buehler and Herman Marquez both making the team with a 6-man rotation. Others on the 40-man roster. Griffin Canning, Yu Darvish, guys that will start on the injured list. Who knows what Yu Darvish's situation is. Miguel Mendez, JP Sears, Matt Waldron. The only one on that 40-man list that's out of options is Matt Waldron. So, and I don't think he makes the team either as of this point, but he might. You never know. Others in camp, Sean Boyle, Marco Gonzalez, Jagger Haynes, who's starting today, Tristan McKenzie, Jackson Wolf. These are all guys battling for spots. Tristan McKenzie cannot get sent down to AAA. Marco Gonzalez cannot get sent down to AAA without exposing to waivers. So that's another interesting conversation. We have to take a break. We're going to dive more into the pitching staff when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, Standing Number Sports Station 97 through the Fan. The 68th running of the Daytona 500 delivered exactly what the Great American Race promises: drama, chaos, and a finish nobody saw coming until the final 500 yards. Tyler Reddick won the Daytona 500, and he did it by leading exactly 1 lap, the only lap that mattered. On the final stretch, Reddick got a massive push from teammate Riley Herbst, powered past Chase Elliott, and drove his number 45 23XL Racing Toyota to a 0.308 second victory. Behind him, absolute mayhem. Frank, what could you take away from the Daytona 500? And in layman's terms, explain to us how Tyler Reddick was able to win the Daytona 500.
I hate fuel mileage racing at super speedways, but that's something that's a completely different topic for a completely different video. So, but we're talking about drafting and getting a push. So the car out in front of a group creates like a break in the air. And when you're behind, this is why you save fuel when you're behind an 18-wheeler, when you're tailgating behind an 18-wheeler, because it's punching such a big hole in the air. You don't have as much air resistance on your car, so it goes faster. Bump drafting is basically that. It's the car using that speed advantage to bump the car in front of it to help it go a little bit quicker. Tyler Reddick going into turn 3 used a slingshot move, basically took that run, took that momentum, got to the outside of Chase Elliott to go and grab that, to try to grab the lead, took second place from it. Then in turn 4, got to the inside and made the move to the inside, while his teammate Riley Herbst at 23:11 was able to get to the outside, and that caused just a big crash.
It was a race that had a record 25 different leaders, 65 lead changes, and a race that felt like it had 5 different endings in the final 2 laps. And for Tyler Reddick, I mean, the win carried extra weight. After going winless in 2025, there were questions. When you drive for 2311 owned by Danny Hamlin and Michael Jordan, expectations are championship level every single season. Reddick admitted the drought forced the team to look in the mirror this offseason, and Sunday was definitely validation.
Yeah, absolutely. He is a very, very good oval racer as well as road racing. He's a very, very competent driver. And for him to have a season like he had last year with a team and components that a team like 2311 has, that was a very, very big drought for him, and then able immediately to come back and take the win this week. Again, as you said, it's just major validation for him and everything the team was able to do over the course of the offseason.
And fittingly, it came in a race that nearly slipped away multiple times. At the white flag, it looked like Carson Hocevar might steal it until he spun in turn 1. That handed the lead to Chase Elliott, who appeared poised to grab his first Daytona 500. But Elliott knew the run was coming. He chose not to throw a desperation double block on Reddick, like avoiding a wreck that could have wiped them both out. And Reddick capitalized. Earlier in the race, we saw the big one, a 20-car accident ignited when Justin Allgaier turned across the nose of Hamlin late in stage 2. That wreck reshuffled the entire field and showed once again that at Daytona, control is just an illusion.
Yeah, no, you cannot on super speedway racing. You cannot under any circumstances predict how that race is going to go, because anything can happen. William Byron had to go to a backup car, started from the back of the field, was caught up in about 5 different wrecks, and was still going into turn 1 on the final lap, still had a chance to win until that wreck with Hocevar happened, forced him onto the apron, forced him back up the track, really slowed him down. But anything can happen at those super speedway races, which is part of the reason why Daytona draws so big as it does every single year.
Stage winner Zane Smith grabbed his first career stage win in stage 1. Bubba Wallace won stage 2 under caution after the massive pileup. But in the end, the race belonged to Tyler Reddick and to teamwork. Michael Jordan made it clear afterward Herbst's push was the difference. That kind of manufacturer and team loyalty wins super speedway races. Top 5, Reddick, Stenhouse Jr., Logano, Elliott, Keselowski. And just like that, the 2026 season begins with a statement. 2311 Racing is back in the win column in the biggest race of them all. Oh, and by the way, Tyler Reddick had his car on display here in San Diego. One of them painted like San Diego State with the Aztecs logo and everything like that before their win against Nevada. I'm just saying. What did the Snapdragon Panda outside of the arena standing next to the Tyler Reddick car, what did that Panda know that we didn't know coming into Sunday?
I don't know if that car is getting raced. I think that might have just been a promotional car either. I couldn't see anything that was saying that car is going to get raced, but it would be really, really cool to see that on track here. You also had
they should race that one here in San Diego.
Yeah,
that should be the one that they use.
Yeah, that would be absolutely incredible. Also this week at Daytona, Chandler Smith had a dramatic victory of his own on Friday night in the Truck Series. 4 wide down on the line, coming to.
Broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios. We know how, leading you up to Padres baseball. Coming up, 97.3 The Fan. Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. The crew is back. It's not, what's great about this is in the background, like when we go to break, we have their feed coming into the studio in queue so we can hear it. And Dave Marcus, I'm surprised Dave didn't text Frank at 5 a.m. this morning going, "You at the studio yet?" Oh, you there yet?
You had someone here already for that.
Yeah. Not 5 a.m.?
Paul?
I don't think 5? He started at 6. That's
Fair
an
enough,
early morning. Probably texting Paul at 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, you there yet? You need a test. I remember working a spring training game. This is before, like, when we used to work, when I first started here, like, the Padre games were on 94.9. Right next to us, except we were in the other building down in Mission Valley and over by Hazard Center. And I remember doing games. I remember getting a text from Dave Marcus, like 6 hours before the game starts. Are you there yet? And I was like, what time's the game start?
Big Dog, what time zone do you think I'm in right now?
I'm like, what? I was like, Dave, it's 7 a.m. The game's at 5.
Never too early.
Like, what? No, I'm not there yet. What do you want me to show up, test the line, and then sit there the whole time? Like, they're probably not going to pay me overtime for that. I'm sorry to tell you. I
mean, I'll do it as long as I'm getting money.
Like, I'm not going to get. If I'm not getting paid for it. I mean, I can come down and flip it on, I guess, and then go home. But no, God wants to make sure. I get it. The crew is back, but we get to hear it. It's great to hear the sounds of a baseball stadium slowly starting to fill for Padres baseball.
Until that god-awful song A-OK comes on the speaker and I want to bash my head against the wall.
I mean, it's cool. You get to hear the announcements, too, from the PA guy.
That's
Hey,
great.
Peoria sports fans. Make sure you go out to Chewy's Churros out there in right field.
Do we do a live look-in?
I don't want to do a live look-in. Why, is Dave standing by?
No one's there.
Nobody's there. Dave's probably getting a hot dog.
Just to get you the ambiance of it.
Yeah, what's the noise sound like? Yeah, well, you got to be careful because people are like walking around.
I know. No, I've heard absolutely no one. So
all right, well, we'll get the sound. Oh, it's great. Like just crowd noise in the background. It's great. I'm ready. I'm ready for baseball. Ready for Padres baseball now. I'm locked in. It's great. I get to call my own game tonight. Utah USD. It's great. Don't forget the churro guy. Love it. The dump button ready. that'd be our luck that walk by.
Yeah,
and guys
exactly. Like
just
the second someone.
I know.
We've heard nothing for an hour and a half, and then all of a sudden, one goof walks past the field mic.
Yep. Or they just everybody starts talking smack about us in the broadcast booth. Oh man, we got Frank and Braden before our deal. I got a list of these guys right now. Oh my god!
Come on!
Oh my god!
Oh, I think I've heard.
Is Dave talking? Dave finally responded.
Well, no, Dave was there. I think Jesse just walked in. Just heard, "Hello, Dave. Nice to see you." I believe that was Jesse just walking in.
Those are the memories of working Padre games. Our guy Kyle's outside.
Yes, he is.
He's getting ready. He's getting locked. Look at how locked in he is.
I don't know if are the other two coming today, because that was usually the deal that Adam had. Like all of us worked the first game just to kind of get us all get our work in a little bit.
I remember I had to build all those opens and make all those rejoins and make the show. And
I remember
I before, like, now Adam does a lot of that stuff. I had to program the pregame show and make all the billboards and like play it. It's a lot. It was fun. I enjoyed being part of Padres broadcast.
When I was doing Met games for I believe it's 880 in New York, I had to build everything. Like I had to build the breaks. I had to and that was kind of how I started here. Was I was told in New York, like, if Nimmo's coming up, try to get a Nimmo rejoin ready to go for that. And it was a lot of work. Like I had to be I mean, I did do it when I started here. I kind of just the second I saw how easy this was, and the second I saw how everything was automated in its own little place, all ready to go, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get in so much trouble for being lazy.
Stop it. Clipping all the highlights.
Yep.
That's always fun.
Yep.
Did you get the highlights for this? Did you get this highlight? I remember, and I would do like that was when I was producing a lot of those games too for a lot of our different pre and post game hosts before Sam and like before I was doing it.
Yep.
And I remember some people would ask like the most obscure highlights. Hey, did you guys clip this play like randomly in the fourth inning? That was kind of no, we did not. You're getting the scoring plays, and then unless you like want something specifically that we are doing, text me that you want this clip. Other than that, you're getting the scoring plays. You're towing a fine line right now of somebody saying something.
I was just for you were talking about the PA announcer going. He just started, so I figured I'd throw that on there.
It was. I don't really need to hear the PA guy, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
And to get everyone ready to go. I'm clearly more ready to go than you are.
I'm locked in, dude. I'm ready to go. Speaking of, we need to talk about the pitching staff. Starting staff. Again, with Dennis Lin put, we're going to talk about what our opening day lineup roster would look like at this point in time. We're going to do this a couple more times throughout the year as games start to trickle around. Shout out to Jose, who's watching us in TJ, getting ready for Padres baseball. So with the starting pitching, I'd find it interesting that Dennis Lin put a 6-man rotation together. But in doing so, like, we don't know the health stat. Like, we don't know what the Padres are going to do injured list wise for some of the starting pitchers. We do know that Griffin Canning is likely to open up on the injured list. You got Musgrove coming off of Tommy John. You have Michael King coming off of an injury marred year last year. But Dennis Lin's got Pivetta, King, Musgrove, Vasquez, Buehler, and Marquez as part of that starting rotation, going with a 6-man rotation where there's smoke, there tends to be fire. I'm curious to see if the Padres actually go with that. But depending on what you do, 6 or 5-man rotation, I think sets up for what this roster is going to look like. From a 5-man rotation standpoint, you're making a difficult decision where you have Buehler, Gonzalez, Marquez, McKenzie, Sears, and Waldron battling for one spot in the rotation. And if it's going to come down to trying to keep as many of these guys in the org as possible that are doing well, I sense the Padres are probably going to lead more towards a 6-man rotation, Frank, than a 5-man rotation.
And I believe of the guys you have on this list here, because you have Walker Buehler, Michael King, German Marquez, Joe Musgrove, Nick Pivetta, and Randy Vasquez. I believe of those 6 guys, Walker Buehler is the only one that does not have a major league contract. Am I wrong on that? Did Marquez not sign a major league deal? No, Marquez
has a major league deal. He's on the 40-man. He's the only guy that's not on the 40-man roster.
Okay. So Buehler's the only guy who's not on the 40.
Buehler is not on the 40-man roster currently, no.
So, I mean, if anyone were to go, I think he might be the easiest one to drop if you wanted to go with a 5-man rotation. But the more and more I'm looking at it, and again, the more and more I'm not.
McKenzie is also not on the 40-man roster.
Yeah. And the more and more I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of it. If Walker Buehler pitches well, if German Marquez pitches well, I can't see a world where you can deny them a rotation spot when this team is as thin on arms as it is and is trying to preserve a couple of guys who spent most of the season hurt last year.
Yeah.
And that's I think at least for the start of the year until Griffin Canning comes back off the IL, that a 6-man rotation might be your best way to go as kind of an extended tryout period.
I mean, if you look at like the schedule, we're going to look at the schedule here in a second because we got to talk about the relief pitchers because we got to take a break. They don't have a lot of days off in the first month.
No.
And it might work out for them to do that before Canning comes back. And I think it's almost like an extended tryout if you decide to go with the 6-man rotation where guys are battling for spots. And again, this is assuming no injuries, which they're going to be at some point. And again, with the Walker Buehler situation, I think it's easier to get him on the 40-man roster when you have guys like Yu Darvish Probably not going to be. He's not going to be in the 40-man rotation.
Yeah, no,
40-man roster.
He'll be put on the injured list.
He'll be on the 60-day injured list, or he will just not be part of the team. Right? I mean, that's the kind of the conversation. He'll be on some other contract, whatever it may be. Whatever the case is with you, Darvish, that's a spot right there. That's an easy flip. We'll talk about the bullpen when we come back. What our 26-man roster would be as of right now, as well as why a 6-man rotation would work out based on the schedule at the beginning part of the season. Final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show when we come back. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 to the Fan. UCSD men's basketball continue to hover around the 500 mark in the Big West Conference. They just came off of a win, defeated UC Riverside 72-66 at Lion Tree Arena, won 3 straight at home and 3 of the last 4 overall. Hudson May scored a career-high 24 points plus 7 rebounds and 4 assists, which earns him the Big West Player of the Week.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did a fantastic job as well. Tritons are now 17-2 when shooting better than their opponent, 15-1. When leading at halftime, 7-0 at home. That is a huge game. We talked about it being a huge game as far as getting into the conference schedule. You've only got your 8-7 now. You had a chance. You could have fallen pretty far behind. And again, only a couple of games left. The next one being at UC Irvine on Saturday. Only a couple games left in the season. You really need to make it count now.
Yeah, especially against a team in Irvine that's tied for the #1 spot in the Big West standings right now, competing with Hawaii for a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. Obviously, that's going to be a one-bid league, and so that's going to happen in the Big West tournament in Vegas. But aside from that, UCSD is trending upward late in conference play. Mays is emerging as a star at the perfect time. Defense is holding teams at 37% shooting, and that's a formula for March. The women's team. It's a general theme here in San Diego. The women's basketball teams are all playing at a higher level. UCSD and San Diego State playing at a very high level. Women's basketball for the Tritons, Frank, 13-2 now in the Big West after what was a triple overtime thriller at UC Davis, but they bounced back with a strong road win at UC Riverside, winning that game 79-68.
Yeah, exactly. Michaela Rose scoring 24 points against her former team. Lev Feeman scoring a career-high 20 points off the bench. Aaron Condren, 8th double-double of the season. I mean, they have been incredibly good. Still on top of the Big West standings as well. And then while the men's team go to UC Irvine, the women's team will have UC Irvine come to them this weekend.
Yeah, and that's a big comeback or a big bounce back win because they immediately responded after what was an emotional triple overtime loss. Still tied for the most Big West wins in program's D1 era, and this team has proven resilience and depth. And another team that might be playing in the NCAA tournament here in town in women's college basketball. Now in softball, they're off to a great start. They're 10-1, the Tritons are. They've won 7 in a row, 6-0 at the USD-UCSD co-hosted tournament last weekend. 7 straight wins, as mentioned before. Malia Cherry, 750 batting average last week, 2 home runs, earns her the Big West Field Player of the Week.
Yeah, absolutely. A big rally win over Colorado State on Cherry's 3-run home run as well. Best Division I start in program history. They will play in the Mary Nutter Classic against Cal Baptist, Texas A&M, who's ranked number 11, Seattle U, and Rutgers in that tournament as well.
Offense explosive so far for the Tritons on the softball field. Freshman Bella Stembro already 4 wins in the circle. Legit national measuring stick games coming this weekend. And again, we talked about it earlier with San Diego State competing in the Mary Nutter Classic. This is a big tournament out in the West Coast for the best teams in college softball. So another big measuring stick for the softball program at UCSD. Speaking of measuring sticks, the baseball team took on the number 1 team in the country, the UCLA Bruins, number 1 in certain polls, number 2 in others, but they were able to salvage the weekend and get a victory on Sunday. It's easy to go up there, compete, lose all 3 games, but UCSD, after losing the first 2, punch UCLA back in the mouth, hit 4 home runs in the win, and win 8-7 on Sunday to start the season 1-2. But it's 1 win against the team that's top 2 in the country on your resume.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really rough way to start the season if you're UCSD, but they get their highest ranked Division I win in program history with that win on Sunday when they could have just easily rolled over and gotten swept. Next, they're going to be part of the hosting of the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament against Utah, Creighton, BYU, and Western Michigan. So a rough start, but to be 2-1, but to be 1-2 after starting the season against the number 1 team in UCLA is a heck of a lot better than being 0-3.
Yeah, Nick Costello hit the go-ahead 2-run homer in the 9th inning to give. 11:40, 20 minutes to Padres baseball. Who's counting? Not us. Didn't get to a midday sports standoff today, obviously, because
really?
We are busy. But if you take me down at sports trivia, when we do the midday sports standoff, you'd be qualified for a chance to win a pair of tickets to Zach Bryan at Snapdragon Stadium on July 31st. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Also, we did not get to our sports thread, which is sponsored by QC Kinetics. Am I missing anything else? No? Good.
No.
All right. I want to talk about we talked about the starting staff. Let's talk about the bullpen now. Based on Dennis Lynn's article. He's got a 6-man rotation, and he's got 7 bullpen arms. Now, before we get to that, I do want to say the Padres have announced the pitchers that are going to throw today. They have 7. And in spring training, they announced all the starters. They announced all the players that are going to pitch. So today, Jagger Haynes is starting. Logan Gillespie was scratched today because his wife is in labor, so hopefully all good news there with the Gillespie family. And shout out to them for having a child today. So obviously all of our thoughts are with the Gillespie family today. Big congratulations to them. As we continue here, Jagger Haynes now gets the start over Logan Gillespie, left-handed pitcher. Left-handed pitcher Jackson Wolf will go in after him. Mason Miller is scheduled to pitch today. Wandy Peralta is scheduled to pitch today. Manuel Castro, Garrett Hawkins, Justin Yeager, all expected to pitch today for the San Diego Padres. What's your problem here? What's going on?
Pete Alonso just hit a home run.
Start playing the world's smallest violin.
It hurts. It does hurt.
We're gonna need you to get over it, dude. It's not.
Yeah,
you know what? Is this gonna affect you the entire year? Is this? Are we gonna be a little sob story?
It's the first game. It's just the first game.
It's spring training. Who cares? He's not a Met anymore. It's okay. Man.
I know. That's why it's upsetting.
We can move on. It's first stage is acceptance. Yep. Where is it, Nate? He won't play it on himself. But he should.
I accepted it, but then it's happening again.
Yeah, here it is.
It's happening again.
You all right, buddy? You gonna be okay?
I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
Okay. All right, you done now?
Yeah, I'm done.
You ready to lock back in?
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. Foul, Frank. It's either the violin or the foul. Prolific. It's not.
Yeah, no, that's
not both.
That's
he gets one of them. All right, back to the pitching situation.
Back to more pressing matters.
Yeah, back to more pressing matters. Okay, so if the Padres decide to go with the 6-man rotation, they'd carry one less bullpen arm. If they decide to go with a 5-man rotation, obviously now you have guys like Marquez and Buehler. You know, if he makes the team, we have to put that on his drop. We have to. I mean, right?
100%.
We have to. I'm not rooting for him to make the team just for bits and drops, of course. Okay. I'm trying to map out like the schedule for the first month in terms of like the rotation and stuff, but let's talk about the bullpen first. I've gotten like what a 5-man rotation would look like for the schedule. I just needed the 6-man. Now, when you look at the bullpen for the Padres is it's not a quiet strength. This is the strength of the team. I don't think a lot of people would argue against that, Frank.
No,
if you had to look at the strength of this team,
strength is what it is.
The bullpen's legit. Okay, you're back in with Mason Miller and Adrian Morejon and Estrada, guys like Jason Adam. I mean, the back end's great. Now, Jason Adam is recovering from a quad surgery, so who knows if he will start on the big league club out of the gate on opening day. He might start on the injured list. Dennis Lynn this is his bullpen that he has making the team as of right now. Miller, Morahone, Estrada, David Morgan, Wandy Peralta, Yuki Matsui, Ron Marinaccio. And I think that's because that Jason Adam might start on the injured list. Now, others in the 40-man roster, there's a lot of pitchers, obviously. Dyson Acosta, Ty Adcock, Johnny Brito, injured list. Manuel Castro, Kyle Hart, Garrett Hawkins, Brian Hoeing, Alec Jacob, Miguel Mendez, and Bradley Rodriguez. The thing that doesn't go for a lot of these players that they don't get the benefit, none of those guys have issues with options. If you pull up the, I'll do it real quick. If you look at the players that don't have options, the only one that's on there right now is Logan Gillespie and Ron Marinaccio. But Dennis Lynn has Ron Marinaccio making the team with Jason Adam on the injured list. And to me, if Jason Adam's going to be on the injured list, then based on where everything is at in terms of like trying to preserve as many players on this team as possible, Marinaccio is probably going to make the team unless he doesn't pitch well in spring. That would be my guess on that particular situation. Now, if we go back to this conversation about the bullpen, does this bullpen have enough to survive with just 7 guys? Because the key dynamic to this is you can do the 6-man rotation, or, Frank, you can move one of those veteran starting pitchers to a bullpen spot. I mean, that's also part of an equation here. I don't necessarily know you want to do that with Walker Buehler. I don't necessarily know you want to do that with Herman Marquez. But at the same time, like, that might be a way that these guys make the team. Especially with all the strides that Randy Vasquez had, at least he's got some experience in as a bullpen role. But even then, I feel like long term, you want Randy Vasquez as a starting pitcher in this organization, not jerking him around, going from starter to bullpen back to starter. I think that would be malpractice upon the Padres to do that. So, do they have enough in the bullpen to survive with 7 guys? I personally think they do if they're only going to do it for about a month, and then you bring Griffin Canning on the team and then make some extra decisions. Long term, who knows? I think it depends on how well the starters do.
I agree. I think if right now you're looking at guys like Walker Buehler and Herman Marquez as making the team because you're hoping for the best at this point. If
Marquez, they suck. It's going to be easy.
Yeah, if Marquez flames out and Walker Buehler is great, obviously you cut Marquez, you carry the 8th man in the bullpen, and you go with a 5-man starting rotation, or vice versa. But I mean, the bullpen, again, you still have guys, as you had put up on the screen before, you still have guys that have a lot of availability as far as options go. Bradley Rodriguez has options. Alec Jacob still has options. So there are some things that you can do, and I believe Alec Jacob was kind of that long guy for the Padres last year. So there are definitely options that the Padres have when it comes to working out this pitching staff.
Yeah, they have. And the thing is as much as this is only fun stuff to do on day one where you don't have any games, you don't have anybody playing yet. I mean, you don't really know who looks good and who doesn't look good. And there's no injuries yet. It usually finds a way. It plays itself out. Yeah, 100%. All right. So if I'm just going through the schedule real quick, the difference between a 6-man and a 5-man rotation. You have a couple of early off days, like Sunday of the opening weekend is off, because you only play the American League 3 times in a series. So you got Detroit for the first 3 games. So that would be in a 5-man, 6-man, everything's the same, right? Pavetta, King, Musgrove. Like, we're just assuming that these guys are healthy. So a 5-man rotation would be Pavetta, King, Musgrove against the Tigers, off. Vasquez, Marquez, Pavetta against the Giants, off. King, Musgrove, Vasquez against the Red Sox. Marquez, Pavetta, King against the Pirates. Musgrove, Vasquez, Marquez, Pavetta against the Rockies, off. King, Musgrove, Vasquez against the Mariners. If you look at days off for Pivetta, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before his next start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before his next start. 1, 2, including the off days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 for one of his starts, but pretty standard stuff, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the 6-man, now I like giving guys like King and Musgrove extra days rest, but like, does Pivetta need the extra days rest? So Pivetta would have 5 days off, 5 days off, 4 days off for his first 3 starts and a 5-man rotation. What?
Jake in the chat, I do agree with you. Alex Jacob isn't all that great. Alec Jacob, though, not that bad.
The 6-man rotation. Pivetta starts opening day. Let's just assuming it goes in the order. Then he would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days off before his next start. That's a long time. But it's early in the season. Like, is that enough? Like, do you want to throw a bullpen in between? That seems like a lot early. So you would have 7 days off. And then for his next start, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 days off, normal. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days off. So he would go 7, 5, 6 in terms of days off early in the season compared to a 5-man rotation where you have 5 days off, 5 days off, 4 days off. I almost would rather, like, some of these guys don't get that. Like, if you look at King, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that'd be really the structure for a lot of these guys. King would have 7 days off. Musgrove, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days off. Vasquez, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days off. Mixed in between. Marquez, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days off. Buehler, 6 days off. Honestly, if you did it with the 6-man rotation, maybe you don't have Nick Pivetta start opening day.
And something that we did discuss earlier was, we discussed it off air, being able to give those guys some time is good, especially with a starting rotation that, as of the players who are currently on your roster, you only had 2 guys pitch the entire season. And that's Nick Pivetta and Randy Vasquez without getting hurt. Everybody else got hurt. Obviously, Dylan Cease was the third one, but he's not on your roster right now. So to be able to give guys a little bit of a break at the beginning of the season, I don't think that's bad. And I personally, I would have Michael King start on opening day. I would put Pivetta number 2. I would do King, Pivetta, Musgrove.
How about this? But here's the deal. Your first 3 players in your rotation, a 6-man rotation, Frank, are going to get 7 days off. If you do a 6-man rotation, okay? And then after that, everybody gets 6 days off throughout the first month of the schedule through April. Mm-hmm. You could start King if you want to start him on the opening day roster. You could start King, Musgrove, Vasquez to get extra days off early in the season, and then you go Pivetta 4. Which again, this would be just for. Pavetta's not the 4th best pitcher on this team.
No,
but
just
the beginning of the season, just for the sake of just to break early. He pitches the 4th game, which means he's pitching game 1 against the Giants. And then throughout the first month, Frank, he has 6 days off, which is just 1 extra day off than he would already get if he were in a 5-man rotation starting opening day. And then for one time through, instead of starting in 4 days, he'd be starting in 5 days. So again, it's just 1 extra day off for Pivetta. I honestly don't mind that at the beginning part of the season, as you're waiting to get Griffin Canning back and you're doing this expanded tryout. And here's the deal. With those extra days off, do you think they can go deep? Does that lead to them being deeper into games? Because if it does, it saves your bullpen. But if they don't go deep into games, then it doesn't really matter. Now your bullpen's getting used a lot, right? So if the starting staff stays fresh like that, where you can let them go another inning or 2 because they're getting their pitches in and they get an extra day off, the 6-man rotation isn't terrible at the beginning part of the season. I don't know if you want to do that the entire year, but we talked about this the other day, comparing the 5 to the 6-man rotation. Mm-hmm. If the starters don't go deep into games, it doesn't even matter what it is anyway. Your bullpen's going to get taxed.
Yes.
Your bullpen's going to get taxed.
And it was a taxed bullpen last year to begin with. So my question would be, we usually don't see, even a normal year, Michael King would throw, he could be ready to go for 100 pitches, but we'd see him throw 70 to 80 on opening day and then get pulled with a 6-man rotation, you might actually be able to pitch closer to your potential earlier because you are getting that extra day off.
I would love to know from, and maybe we ask Sam to ask this question. I would love to know if it matters. Can you, for building up a pitcher, if you get an extra day off, can you have them throw more pitches? Because it's about pitches and not innings for these guys at the beginning of the year. If the answer, it doesn't really matter, then we're not really saving. You're still hurting the bullpen. But if the answer is, we can have him throw a little bit more because he's got an extra day off, I think that's interesting to talk about. But 6-man rotation's interesting. Padres baseball is next. We'll talk to you guys on Monday.